I am coming on here today to chat to you guys about supplementing and why we should supplement, what supplementing is, and kind of hopefully dispel some myths about supplementing. Good morning, guys. So I feel like I have so much nervous energy that I need to get rid of today, and I don't know why. It kind of feels like I am performing live in front of a 100-person audience, even though it's literally just me and my camera. Gives me pre-stage jitters. All of you musicians and actors out there who understand that, give me a thumbs up or comment below and let me know, because I feel like maybe this is just me, or maybe this is a performer thing and we just get a little bit nervous whenever we're on a stage or in front of a camera. So yeah, enough chitter chatter. One of the first things I want to address is why we should supplement and whether supplementing is natural. People will say, isn't supplementing unnatural, as if that then makes it bad. And there's a couple of things I want to say on this topic. The first thing is that not everything that is natural is necessarily good for you. Viruses and bacteria are natural, but not all viruses and bacteria are good for you. So I think we need to be careful about how we use the word natural. There are a lot of things that are natural that are really, really good for us, like plants, like essential oils, like using less chemicals, eating organic. I think that there are things that are natural that are really, really good for us, but there are also things that are natural that are not good for us. So I think it's important to bear that in mind and understand that natural means as it comes from nature, not necessarily the best or not necessarily always good. Good and natural are not synonymous for one another. The other thing is we don't live in a natural world. We live in this crazy modern environment with cities and cars and roads and houses. These are modern technologies that we would never ever have had in the wild or in our natural habitat. So I think that's also important to bear in mind that if we wanted to truly be fully natural, we would have to go back to living outside, not using toilet paper, not driving cars, not wearing clothes, if we genuinely want to be 100% natural. So I don't think any of us are particularly interested in doing that for our safety, for our health, for all sorts of practical reasons. So this means that there are definitely some nutrients that we no longer have access to because we live in a very sanitized modern environment. Okay, so most nutrients you can get through your food, through whole plant foods, and most of us should be getting a majority of our nutrients from that source. I do think it is still the healthiest and most bioavailable way of absorbing nutrients is through fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. So that should definitely be our primary source. However, there are certain nutrients that do need special attention, and I'm going to explain to you guys in a second why. So when we would live in the wild, we would get all the vitamin D that we ever needed from sunshine. Our bodies can basically create their own vitamin D by soaking in sunshine. However, now that we live inside a lot, most of us do not get enough vitamin D. And also people living in northern climates generally don't see as much sunshine as they would if they were living in Africa. We would have got vitamin B12 from dirt and also trace amounts of feces, because basically B12 is created by bacteria. So we have to be exposed to a certain level of bacteria to get B12 naturally. Otherwise, any other forms of B12 that we're getting in our diet is supplementary. Now, if you are an omnivore, you will get your vitamin D and your vitamin B12. You'll get some of those from eating meat. Something I want to point out about that is I think people think that eating meat is a natural way of getting vitamin D and vitamin B12. But in reality, it's not meat. And that is because the animals eat plants and they eat dirt and often some of their own feces. And then those vitamins from the dirt and from the plants is deposited in their muscle tissue. And when we eat that muscle tissue, it's basically a secondary supplement. Instead of getting it directly from the plants, we're getting it through the body of an animal. The other thing is that farmers often supplement animals food with, they'll give them vitamin B12 supplements and vitamin D supplements to make sure that the animal is actually getting enough of those things too. So sometimes we're literally taking a supplement through the body of a dead animal. As you guys know, I am vegan, so I don't eat animals, and so I'm not going to be getting that secondary supplementation. Iodine is a supplement that I think is so important, and it's not talked about nearly enough. And so it's something I really wanted to talk about in this video because iodine is so important. What iodine does is iodine basically feeds our thyroid and our metabolism. And without iodine, we can end up with thyroid imbalances and hypothyroidism, essentially. So it's so important, but it's also important we make sure we're getting the right amounts. Too much iodine can be a bad thing. So upwards of 1,000 micrograms can cause iodine poisoning, but also too little can be a bad thing. So the ideal amount is about 150 micrograms of iodine a day. If you are an omnivore, if you eat dairy, you will also be getting iodine, and that is purely because they use an iodine. I cannot say the word iodine properly. Iodine. They use an iodine containing disinfectant to disinfect the milk tanks. So the milk basically ends up absorbing the iodine from that disinfectant. So again, it's not that the iodine naturally occurs in the milk. The iodine is basically supplemented into the milk via a disinfectant, which is pretty gross. And that is standard industry practice that is done across 96% of farms. So this isn't just like the big factory farms. Even if you're getting milk from smaller farms, they still have to disinfect the tanks to make sure that it's sanitary, and it's most likely that they're going to be using an iodinized disinfectant. Or, you know, even if they're not, then you're still not getting iodine through the milk. The milk does not naturally contain iodine. So that's something that I think is helpful to point out. There are, though, some natural sources of iodine, which are sea vegetables like seaweed. The only issue with seaweed is it's very easy to actually get too much iodine from seaweed because there's so much iodine in the seaweed. So depending on what kind of sea vegetable or what kind of seaweed you're eating really depends on whether it's going to be, you know, a good amount of iodine or potentially too much. If you don't want to do that, maybe you don't like seaweed or you just don't want to have it every day, then I think supplementing is a perfectly legitimate way of getting iodine. Okay, so while I was editing, I realized that I didn't talk properly about the essential fatty acids, so I'm going to quickly insert that here. When we eat flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts, we get ALA. And ALA is then broken down by our bodies into DHA and EPA. Now, what they found when they've done a couple of studies, which I'm going to link in the description below. All the information I'm referencing here, I will be linking studies for in the description. I don't really like to flash it up on the screen because it's way too technical for me. So I prefer to just link it below. So definitely look down there to find some of my information sources. But what happens is as we get older, our bodies decline in their ability to break down ALA into DHA and EPA. And this can actually contribute towards premature brain aging and brain shrinkage. So we need to be eating what they call preformed DHA and preformed EPA in our diets. A lot of people get that from fish. So fish contains preformed DHA. However, fish are also the filter creatures of the sea. They filter everything through their bodies. So you'll find that fish are often filled with heavy metal toxins such as mercury and lead. And this is obviously not good for us as humans. So actually a cleaner source of getting preformed DHA and EPA is algae. You can actually take algae from the sea and turn it into a DHA and EPA supplement to make sure that your brain is getting all the nutrients it needs to slow the aging process. Also, I would argue that getting it from algae instead of fish is such a kinder way to our planet and to the animals. If we don't need to use their bodies to get a nutrient, then why would we? Fishing is destroying our oceans, and obviously it's a painful and horrible experience for the fish to be pulled out of the ocean, basically suffocated because they're being pulled out of their natural habitat, and then serve it on our plate as dinner. If we don't have to do that, then really why would we want to cause that harm and destruction? They have compared the brain decay of a average American eating an average American diet that does include preformed DHA and a vegan who is not getting preformed DHA and is not supplementing it. When you compare the two, the brain decay is exactly the same both ways. So I would say that all people, no matter what you're eating, you should be getting a preformed, pollutant-free, algae-based DHA or EPA supplement in your diet. Now, when it comes to multivitamins, obviously multivitamins include a range of different nutrients that you need every day. And the question is, am I in support of multivitamins? I do think that multivitamins can be helpful because most of us are not eating massive salads every single day. And most of us statistically, I think it's like 96% of Americans are deficient in major nutrients. We definitely live a very fast-paced lifestyle right now. And so sometimes making a salad every day is not always something that people have the time for. And so I think having a supplement that is just kind of making sure you hit those base markers, I think is really important. Now, a big question that I get is, do vegans need to take different supplements to omnivores? And are vegans more deficient than omnivores? I think a lot of people think because vegans are not eating meat and dairy, that they're somehow missing out on some vital nutrients. And so I want to prove to you guys that that is actually not the case. There was an Oxford study done, which I'm going to link to this video, that basically showed that vegans on average were often deficient in iodine, calcium, and B12, which obviously the iodine and the B12 are things that I've covered that are things that are definitely necessary to be supplementing. And the calcium issue can be easily solved by eating things like more dark green leafy vegetables and more broccoli. Just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're always eating your greens. There's a lot of vegans out there who only eat Oreos and never eat their greens. So that's something to bear in mind. And then the omnivores were deficient in iodine, calcium, fiber, folate, magnesium, vitamin C, and vitamin A. So they weren't just deficient in the three that the vegans were, they were also deficient in another 4 essential nutrients. So I would say that from the science, it looks like vegans are actually getting a lot more of their essential nutrients on average than the average omnivore is. You can get all the major nutrients that you need through food, except for, you know, some of those things like the B12 and the vitamin D that we would normally get through bacteria and sunshine that we just don't get a lot of in our current climate. So which supplements do I take and why? Now I want to talk to you guys about the supplements that I take and why I take them. So I take 3 supplements called Long Life Vitality. These are by doTERRA, which is the company that I'm an advocate for. And I want to tell you guys a bit about these supplements and why I love them so much. So they have non-vegan and vegan versions. I definitely recommend the vegan versions. If you didn't guess that I was going to say that, I know. Listen guys, I promise you, you'll feel so good if you go vegan. Okay, so this is the Vegan Microplex VMZ. And this is basically like their multivitamin, and the reason that this is awesome is that it is whole food based. So part of the reason that it's so good to get most of our nutrients from our food is that it's a very bioavailable source. Our body knows how to digest it, our body knows how to process it properly, how to use it. When we get vitamins that are synthetic, not every synthetic vitamin is as bioavailable as the whole food vitamins. So it really is the best way to go with the whole food. And in fact, if you do take a synthetic vitamin, it's likely that you'll end up peeing out about 20 to 80% of what you're ingesting because your body just can't process it the same as food. So this is an awesome supplement. Not only does it have all your major vitamins in, it also has a
proprietary whole food blend of kale, dandelion, kelp, parsley, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, spinach. So it has a bunch of greens in here too, which is freaking awesome.
The second vitamin I take from doTERRA is called the vegan Omegas. And this is basically a essential fatty acid blend of DHA and ALA. This contains vitamin A, natural vitamin D, and natural vitamin E, which are important to make sure that you're absorbing the essential fatty acids properly. And then in the Omega blend, it has flaxseed oil, algae oil, inchi seed oil, borage oil, cranberry seed oil, pomegranate seed oil, pumpkin seed oil, and grapeseed oil. It also has
a carotenoid blend of lutein, lipoin, zeaxanthin,
and then it has an essential oil blend of clove, frankincense, thyme, cumin, wild orange, peppermint, ginger, caraway, and German chamomile. And these are going to be really helpful for the absorption of these fatty acids and very complementary. So this is a fantastic algae-based omega blend. The third one I take is called the Alpha CRS Plus, and this actually is a cellular vitality complex. So this is basically a mixture of different herbs that are really good for your cell health. And we know that when we have happy, healthy cells, we have a happy, healthy body, which makes sense because our body's made of cells, right? So
we've got boswellia resin extract, we've got scrutaria root extract, milk thistle extract, polygonum cuspidatum root extract, green tea extract, pomegranate extract, pineapple extract, turmeric extract, grapeseed extract, sesame seed extract, and pine bark extract.
There's also a
cellular energy blend which has CoQ10 in it, has the quercetin, ginkgo biloba leaf, alpha lipoic acid, and also acetylcarnitine. I can never pronounce some of these words, guys, are so weird, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
So these three are like a powerhouse. And actually, I have noticed some of the biggest changes in my health from taking these. Like my energy levels are so much higher. I feel healthier. I feel stronger. I feel like I have more energy to exercise and get through my day. So really, really awesome. Okay, and the last supplement I use is actually a thyroid blend from Fresh Thyme. And the reason I use this is because in the doTERRA multivitamin complex, they do not have adequate levels of iodine. They have about 8% of your daily recommended dose of iodine. And that's because a lot of people do use iodinized salt. So if you're using iodinized salt, then you don't need to take any extra iodine in your diet or in your supplements. But I do not use iodinized salt. I occasionally use a little bit of natural salt, but that's about all. So this is just really helpful for me just to make sure that I'm really getting that iodine that I need. The other reason I use it is because thyroid issues do run in my family, and so I just want to be taking something that's going to be protecting my thyroid. So this also contains ashwagandha root, gotu kola herb, bacaiba herb, bladderwrack, piperine, some zinc, some copper, and some vitamin B5, and so those are all really supportive for your thyroid. So I really like taking this alongside my doTERRA supplements just as something extra that's going to be supportive for my thyroid health and making sure my metabolism is functioning properly as it should be. So yeah, that's basically all I have for you guys today. I just wanted to have a little bit of a conversation about supplements. If you guys have thoughts on this, please leave your comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative. It was a bit different from normal, but I just wanted to shake it up a bit and talk about something a little bit more nutrition focused. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all my videos. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.